Hello everybody and welcome back to Syracuse Aviation. Before we get started, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. So today I have the November 2024 Syracuse Hancock International Airport update for you guys. The last update I believe I did was in August or July, so it's been quite a while. So I do apologize for that, but obviously it's not like I can just pack this up and bring it to college, as nice as that would be. I did actually do a sit-down video talking about what's new at the airport, so definitely go and check that out. I'll put a card right up here for that video if you guys want to check it out. But today we have the actual airport. I'll let you guys know what's new when we get to certain flights or areas of the airport. So with that being said, we're going to start at the Alpha concourse down at Gate 15 today. So here at Gate 15 we have this Delta Connection Embraer 175. This aircraft will be overnighting here and will head out to Minneapolis-St. Paul in the morning. Nothing new to say for this service. It's still been the consistent once daily overnight flight on the 175. It's been parking at Gate 15 for the last couple of months now, so that's very nice to see. Now Gate 1 looks a little bit different, as you can probably tell if you guys are familiar with this airport at all or if you've watched previous updates frequently. Gate 1 was Southwest Gate, and then once they departed, it sat vacant a lot of the time. Sometimes JetBlue used it, but now Breeze has taken over Gate 1. From all the flights that I've seen with Breeze into Syracuse, they've been arriving into Gate 1 as opposed to Gate 12 where they used to be. And then JetBlue has been using Gate 12 for a lot of their services, so you'll see that here in a few minutes. But at Gate 1, we have the Breeze A220-300, which is on the turnaround flight from Raleigh-Durham. So originally Raleigh-Durham was a summer seasonal service on the Embraer 190 and 195. They were able to bring it back and is now a year-round service with an option for a breeze through to Sarasota-Bradenton. So I believe I went over this in that video that I was referencing earlier. But here we actually have it represented in the model airport update, so that's very nice to see. Moving down here at Gate 3, we have this JetBlue A320 in the high-rise tail. This is a new model to this airport, so I'm very excited to introduce this to the Syracuse airport replica. Anyways, this aircraft is on a turn-on flight from Orlando International, MCO. This is now a 2-daily service, which is 2 daily A320s, one of them overnights. And then we are also going to be seeing the A321 on one of those frequencies. I believe the 5 o'clock evening flight is going to be on the 321 in a couple of weeks here, so very excited for that. I have to say I'm very pleased with what JetBlue's done ever since Southwest's departure. They've really kicked up a lot of their capacity, not only taking care of what JetBlue had on Orlando, but also adding a little bit capacity to that as well. So I'm very happy about that, so pleased with JetBlue's operations overall, and we will see a little bit more from JetBlue here in a few minutes. Next up at Gate 5, we have this American Airlines Airbus A319 with CFMs and fence tips. This aircraft is on the evening turnaround service from Washington, DCA. So what originally happened was that American was doing 2 A319s. One of them was on Chicago and the other one was on DCA, and then you can talk about Charlotte and Dallas. Those are also mainline, but that's another story. So Chicago and DCA were both, they had one daily mainline in the evening, and then the Chicago one went back to the 175s, and then they put that extra mainline on DCA. So at one point we had, at the beginning of November, we had 2 A319s on DCA, and now it's down to 1. So they're kind of just slowly removing a little bit of capacity as the slower season for the airport moves in. But we still have mainline on DCA, which is not something I thought we'd see in the month of November heading into December a couple years ago, so I'm nonetheless very happy about that. You're also going to find that if you look at the flight schedule on Flight Radar 24, you're going to see that most of these American Airlines aircraft that I've represented here are not necessarily in the correct gates or aircraft types as well. I try my best with the gates, but just the way that they use certain gates throughout the day, like Gate 8, 6, and 9 tend to be their primary gates. Gate 5 is hardly ever used, but there's just certain things I had to do to be able to fit in as many aircraft I could into this airport update to be able to talk about them all. So a lot of these gate assignments are not necessarily accurate, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Next up here at Gate 6, we have the American Eagle Embraer ERJ 145 on the turnaround flight from Boston Logan today. We also have the 145s in Philadelphia, which is, I believe it's 3 daily 145s. So nice to see the 145s still making their way into Syracuse. Hopefully these services all get upgraded to a little bit larger aircraft at some point in the future, but for now, I'm pretty happy with the 145s on these frequencies. And as you can see, I still don't have any standard livery American A321s. Someone's got to really get on those because I'm getting pretty impatient here about that situation. I know NG Models does have their Wish program, and I think someone requested some variant of the 321 in the standard livery to be made, so hopefully they do that soon. If they do, I'll probably have to get 2 or 3 of those to be able to replace some of these special liveries, or not replace, but have some more proper aircraft in their place. But anyways, at gate 8, we have the flagship Valor Medal of Honor A321, which will be making a flight out to Dallas-Fort Worth today. This is back down to mainly A320s, but on some of the busier days like Sunday, Thursday, and Friday, you will see the A321 operated on that Dallas flight. So nice to see the 321s still coming into Syracuse from Dallas. Very happy about that. And we'll now move on to gate 9. So at gate 9, we have the PSA Heritage A321 for American Airlines. This aircraft will be heading out to the Charlotte Douglas International Airport today. Charlotte's mainly 319s and 320s. I believe we have one A320, which is the overnight, and then the other 2 flights are on the A319 in the middle of the day, sort of. And those also use gate 6 and 8. I didn't see any going to gate 9 in the last couple of days. Maybe they have. A lot of the times they change it around based on the exact timing, so this is probably accurate for some time in the month of November. So I guess you have that to consider as well. But next up at gate 10, we have the American Eagle. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. We have the American Eagle Embraer E175 with enhanced winglets. This aircraft will be making its way down to Miami today, which is once weekly, Saturday only. I'm not big on that. I still wish that it was daily 175 from like November through April. I think would be really nice. Nonetheless, still happy to see this. They are doing daily for Christmas break, which I guess is something. It's not. It's a step in the right direction, I'll say that. So that's nice to see there. And then gate 11 is currently empty, but we do have, pushing back out of gate 11, this Allegiant. Try to move you guys closer a little bit. That's looking pretty good. We have the Allegiant A319 in the new colors. Again, pushing back from gate 11 with service down to St. Pete Clearwater International Airport today. And then once he's out of the way, we'll have the Sanford flight also on an A319 pull into gate 11 to take his place. And there's that other JetBlue service I was talking about earlier at gate 12 with the A220-300. This aircraft will be making a flight out to New York JFK today, which is 2 daily A320s. Boston, we still have the 223, which is once daily overnight. We did have the 190 for a little bit, I think just in the month of September, and then the 220s are already made their way back in. We also have discovered that allegedly the last airport, or one of the last few airports, I believe it might actually be the last airport that JetBlue flies the 192, is Syracuse. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but last I checked, that was indeed what their initial plan was. So if I was around, I would try to get on it, but I don't think it's going to work out. Logistically, it would either be expensive or I would be in school. But nonetheless, pretty cool to see that. And the 220 is certainly a great replacement. I still like the 190 from the outside. Just on the inside, they're really pretty awful, dated aircraft. Not necessarily hating the 190, just I'm glad there's a replacement as good as the 220. Next up, at gate 26, we have the United 737 MAX 9 in the Evil Blue colors. This aircraft will be heading out to New Jersey's Newark Airport today. This is actually filling in for what should be an A319. You guys all hopefully know the story with model manufacturers and United E319s. It's been a while since we've had one. I think Aeroclassics did one, but I think they put CFMs on it, and then Gemini did one that actually looks really, really good, but they're just very hard to come across, and I wasn't able to pick any of them up back when they made them, so that's pretty unfortunate, but hopefully we'll see NG do something in the next couple of months. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyways, filling in for a A319 with service to Newark. Next up at gate 25, we have this Delta Airlines Airbus A320. This aircraft is operating the overnight turnaround to Detroit Metro. So Detroit, still been on the 320 ever since sometime in the early summer, I think it came back. on the main line for that overnight, so very, very consistent here. I'm very happy to see that. I've seen a couple A319s on this service, but very seldom. But interesting to see that, but mainly the 320, so nice and consistent there. Happy to have some more capacity to our Delta hubs for a lot of those overnight services. Certainly something that I love to see at Syracuse. I was going to save this guy for the last, but I guess I'll go ahead and take care of him now. So we have the Griswold the Bear A320 for Frontier Airlines, waiting for the 737-900 at gate 20 to get out of the way and do what it needs to do. But this aircraft has just arrived in from Orlando. We do have service to Raleigh, Atlanta, and Fort Myers, also Denver on Frontier as well. All of those were suspended supposedly until October 8th, I believe, or sometime around then, and they still haven't returned at this point, so not entirely sure what's going on there. There hasn't been a whole lot of communication on Frontier's end. Guys, I'm really not happy with Frontier. I don't even know what they're trying to do at this point in terms of their route network and what they're trying to do. They keep adding services, cutting half of them, adding 40 more routes, cutting half of those. And as we've seen with Syracuse, even some of our consistent services, Raleigh was one of the first destinations that they announced out of this airport, and it's been operating consistently ever since they came here, I believe back in 2018 or 19, so 5 or 6 years, and now it's cut indefinitely, along with Atlanta, which was supposed to be year-round. I'm not too concerned about Atlanta because who really cares? It's kind of a goofy service anyways, but hopefully all of these come back, especially Fort Myers and Denver are two that I really would like to see a return at some point. But we'll just have to wait and see. Again, who really knows what Frontier is trying to do at this point? So at the end of the day, time will tell. And once again, filling in for an A319, pushing back out of gate 20 is the United Evo Blue 737-900, which will be heading out to Chicago O'Hare today. Again, filling in for the A319. Next to him at gate 21 is another 737-900 filling in for an A319, heading out to Washington Dulles for this one. So this next one isn't actually a substitution, so that's really cool, but what's even cooler is the fact that this is gate 22, which used to be a regional-only walkout gate, so it was a ground load. You had to use air stairs to get on the aircraft. Not necessarily the most ideal thing to do in central New York in the wintertime, but now it's a mainline jet bridge gate, so that's very nice to see that. They do have the expansion as well, the little terminal bump out going on kind of in between gate 22 and 23 here, which hopefully will be done in the next couple of months, but they hung the jet bridge and it's now in use, so I'm very excited about that. But this aircraft will be heading out to Denver. As I said, it's not filling in for anything, so nice to have the Evo Blue A320, which I got a couple months ago. It's been very nice to have this, and I believe this is the first airport update I've used it in since that unboxing, so I'm very excited to introduce this into the airport as well as that JetBlue high-rise A320 that we saw earlier. And moving down the line, at gate 23, we have the Delta Airlines Airbus A321 on the overnight turnaround from Atlanta today. So Atlanta's still been the 3 daily flights, 2 A320s, 1 A321. So a really nice solid offering of mainline in connection opportunities, capacity through Atlanta. So nothing really new to note there. I'm just happy that it's been consistent. They still have the 321 going in the winter, so very excited about that, and hopefully they add some more 321s. I'd like to see maybe that 5 o'clock flight on a 321 at some point in the future, but nonetheless, I'm pretty content with what we have right now. Getting into our final two aircraft now, we have a CRJ-900 at gate 24A. This aircraft will be heading down to New York JFK today. I guess you could say that I'm actually on this plane because I recently took this flight back in October. I believe it was the 13th of October, if I'm not mistaken. I did Syracuse to JFK to Raleigh on the same CRJ-900, the same aircraft registration, I guess you could say. I sat on the other side there. So nice to see that. We have seen a couple 175s on the JFK service, so nice to see a little bit of variety on JFK. And then pretty much the exact same thing for New York LaGuardia, which we will show you with this aircraft. Obviously this is a swing gate, so currently the jet bridge is not hooked up to this one, but when the JFK flight leaves, it'll move over. The LaGuardia flight will board up, and then they will head out to New York LaGuardia, which has been, again, CRJ-9s and a few 175s here and there. It's been mostly CRJ-9s. So again, pretty consistent there, nothing really new for either of those services, but I guess no news is good news a lot of the time, so that's nice to see there. And that's kind of one final look at Concourse B. Another thing to mention about the terminal expansion, I told you guys about gate 22 and the bump out there. We are also getting a bump out. I think I've mentioned this in a previous update, but if you haven't heard, we're getting another bump out at the corner of the B concourse there, which is gate 27, which is currently just a hard stand. It hasn't been used for any actual flights for quite some time, but they're bumping out the terminal there, as well as adding a jet bridge, so it should look something like this at some point, if I can get the jet bridge to stand up. But we know how the Gemini bridges are, they're very tipsy a lot of the time. And then what I'd like to see, Frontier, I mentioned, uses gate 20 as well. I would like to see either United move over to 27 there, and then you could put Frontier back at gate 20, or what I think would be pretty cool, if you just took your Frontier 320, 321, whatever they're flying in on that day, and put it at gate 27. I think that would work really nicely too. I think that looks pretty sweet right there. So we'll just have to see, or maybe it'll just be another Delta gate, maybe it'll be another United gate, although I kind of doubt it because I think that's just a little bit overkill. Common use, overflow, really could be anything at this point. From what I've seen, it should be a full-size mainline gate, so that's pretty cool. Nice to see that we're getting more capacity on each side of the terminal. It's hard to imagine that it would still be just a regional gate based on the amount of seating that I've seen they're going to put in that area of the terminal. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Again, time will tell. I think the gate 27 expansion at the end has been moving a lot slower than the 22 expansion. I'm not even sure if they have any steel framing going up at 27 yet, but 22 is mostly done. Again, the jet bridge has been hung, it's operational, so that's very nice to see. You'll just have to be patient. Maybe I'll go back during Christmas break and see what's going on. I'm actually flying out of Syracuse for a flight to Fort Lauderdale on Allegiant for the 3rd year in a row. I'm not complaining though. That just goes to show how awesome of a service that is, that for the 3rd year in a row we're taking the same flight out of Syracuse. So maybe whenever I go to the airport for that trip, I will take a look over at the B concourse and see what's going on, give you guys maybe some kind of an update. Maybe I'll do a special for you guys. I'll do a separate little video kind of showing you real life what everything looks like. But with all that said, that is the Syracuse Hancock International Airport update for the month of November 2024. Here's one final look at the terminals, looking pretty nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's airport update. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.